Sorry about that little delay, ladies and gentlemen. Every now and then a brother goes through some technical difficulties. But on today's show, the clown cabinet posse just got bigger. And for some reason, Trump really loves to put black dudes as the head of urban and housing and HUD. We'll discuss that. My man Sterling K. Brown is about to be a lead in the new live action Voltron. We definitely going to discuss that as well. And ladies and gentlemen, Walmart has decided now that their boy is in office. What the hell do we need DEI for? Me and Larry will explain to you why DEI is needed. All that and so much more comes on the Lamont Tyson Life Gains Lamont and Larry live show right now.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that full. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
Yeah, baby. You're in the building with the all knowing, all loving, all feeling, all seeing, all powerful. Just damn all everything. Sexy as hell host. And what do I look like if I don't have a legend with me? Ladies and gentlemen, here's the legend. Living legend. Larry's in the building. What's up, Larry?
Big ups, man. I love that. I love that Wakanda gear right there, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you fair warning. Don't leave it around. Don't leave it laying around.
Oh,
you might see it on my show next week.
You want one? You want one? You want the hat too?
I love it, man. That's great.
I got you. Yep. I'm gonna holler at you. I need to holler at you about some stocks anyway, bro. I've been doing since I done had my surgery. I've been doing tinkering with some things, and all I can say is, man, it's time for us to go to the sky while we got that white guy in the White House. Time to go to the sky. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We really appreciate you being here. Both links to Larry's channel and mine are in the video description. And if you haven't had a chance to go over and take a look at what I'm doing with film and scripts, here's a way you can get involved. I would love to have you a part of the team.
For years, the GOP and others have been coming for academic books in elementary through high school and college that take away the real history of this country. That history includes the benefits blacks gave to this country. And blacks have had to be superheroes. If you want to support a film studio that is committed to telling those stories and also telling superhero stories of blacks, helping to save the world and the universe, please go support Life Games Film Studio. Link is in description. And if you want to get an executive summary of what we're trying to do, all you got to do is shoot me an email. Make a donation without delay.
That's right, people. Check us out. Now, Larry,
hey, Lamont,
I want you to, yeah.
I feel like if you're going to make a superhero about blacks, it's going to be a documentary. Because, I mean, once people recognize the real history, they don't even believe it. They listen to it and they see it and they read it. They're like, this can't be real, can it? There are people read the history. They think it's like a novel. They don't realize it's all real. It's going to be a documentary.
It's because they didn't get exposed to it when they should have got exposed to it. And part of what my film studios and some of my scripts aim to do is to change all that, break it up, help people get curious about why they've been lied to their whole life about how this country started, so that they're not succumbing to this nationalist bull jive. I feel like
G-Force is going to be like, it should be like tagline, like forcing the GOP to act right or something. That's what G-Force might end up standing for.
and the sad thing is, that's only one of the three scripts. I mean, you've only read one of them. It's the escalation to two more. And without giving it all away, because I'm going to probably have to make it myself, one of them pretty much details exactly what we're going through with this new Trump presidency, and I didn't even know Trump was going to be president again. That's the sad thing. Like, it's
well, if I'm going to be a part of it, and I know you are, obviously it's your thing, we might need to go ahead and get our citizenship in like Ghana or some other country first, because after it comes out, we might get run up out this piece.
What we could do is we can get citizenship in Canada, because Canada and Mexico ain't playing these silly ass games. And since Larry went there, that's the perfect place for us to start. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody watching us. Let me give a big shout out to Tim, Rashonda. I appreciate y'all. Tim has been with me, Larry, since the Cody days. He's been through like 3 or 4 transitions.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for Tim for being here. He loves what we do with politics. He's following politics. He's concerned about how policies affect his life. Like everybody else should be concerned. But I appreciate him and I appreciate Rashonda for showing up for these because these don't get a lot of views, but damn it, I don't care. I really don't.
Big Tim comes through to my channel too when I do my live streams. He's like
OG.
head of the Hall family, man. He comes through
man.
deep. I'm loving it. I think I have 2 administrators on my channel and he's one.
That's what's up. And he's a good dude too, man.
Yeah.
And so with what Larry was saying, the Trump administration via his Truth Social, which that's just bull jive right by itself, but you know, whatever, released a statement that he's going to try to impose a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada, two of our 3 biggest trading partners.
Yeah.
And the young lady that is the president of Mexico, who is a scientist, ladies and gentlemen, not only a scientist, an award-winning scientist, leans left, said hell to the no. And Larry, I've got video footage for you that I made up myself. Take a look at this.
He said he was going to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and an additional 10% tariffs on China. There are already some tariffs in place on some Chinese goods. Worth understanding what a tariff is. Effectively, it's an additional fee onto any imports into the country, which means that any goods coming in from Canada effectively are going to cost 25% more. Now, some of that may be absorbed by the importer, but some of it might be passed on to the consumer. And the fear here is that ultimately what that means is higher prices for consumers in the shops.
It's interesting because when you read the detail of this, you would assume it's to do with trade or protectionism. But Donald Trump, talking openly, he says this is about drugs and migration.
Drugs to come through our southern border, we're going to tariff you. You want to allow them to come through Canada, we're going to tariff you. We are going to cost your countries, your economies, we're going to cost your businesses billions, hundreds of billions of dollars.
That was Eric Trump, the son of President-elect Trump, defending his father's promise to impose major tariffs on goods from the United States, 3 largest trading partners. The president-elect has justified this position as what he believes is an effort to curb migration and the flow of fentanyl into the United States. He's been making that case publicly.
We obviously talked. I had a good call with Donald Trump last night again. We obviously talked about laying out the facts, talking about how the intense and effective connections between our 2 countries flow back and forth. This is a relationship that we know takes a certain amount of working on, and that's what we'll do.
That, again, similarly, no one wins in a trade war, but we've seen the tit-for-tat trade war between Washington and Beijing that marked Trump's first term here in Washington.
Lord have mercy. Trudeau looked like he stressed the hell out, Larry. He's looking like,
Yeah.
I got to deal with this buffoon again. So before I give you the floor, Larry, let me just say a couple of things. The guy did an okay job of explaining how tariffs work. But let me explain it to anybody who loves Trump or is a GOP supporter so that you can really understand what's going on. Now, he's trying to use this as a weapon to force countries to do what he wants them to do. And I can go ahead and tell you that chick in Mexico, she's not having none of that. Let me put her on she is not having none of that because she believes in science. She believes in democracy. And first of all, she does not believe that the majority of the fentanyl that's coming to America is coming from her country anyway. And even if it was, how are you going to try to punish a country over something that she probably doesn't have that much control over? That's kind of what she's thinking.
Right.
But more importantly, you GOP folks, Trump has y'all thinking that we're going to tariff these countries, right? And that's going to somehow or another get rid of the income tax that y'all pay. Why don't y'all get this shit out your head? It's not. It's if anything, it's going to hurt you by causing inflation to go up more. And secondly, when did y'all become people that love taxes? Last I
Yeah.
checked, y'all hate all taxes. If anybody puts a tax on anything, if they put a tax on tan and y'all ready to go storm the damn Capitol, but now y'all want to tax other countries. See how hypocritical y'all are? Having said that and giving you guys the damn facts, Larry, I give you the floor on this tariff issue. And while you discuss it, I'll put up a quote from Mexico's president while you break it down.
First off, I mean, tariffs are not going to be good for any of us three,
No.
North American trading partners,
No.
U.S., Mexico, or Canada. Canada's a little bit worried because they know that 70% of their economy or I don't want to say 70% of their trade is with the U.S. So we are by far their largest trading partner. I don't see any reason to impose a tariff on Canada. Canada hasn't done anything that would warrant any tariff that I can see. I mean, we get a lot of oil from them. They get a lot of food and other stuff from us. I mean, we have been good trading partners. And Mexico, people can get mad at Mexico all they want and say, hey, there's drugs and cartels and everything else down there. But here's what people don't mention. If you don't know the history of Mexico and the drug trade and everything else, Mexico was not involved with the drug trade until Americans were using so much of it that the demand became such that Mexico got involved because they were watching billions and billions and billions of billions of dollars pass through their country. Because what was happening was the Colombians were the ones that were producing most of the cocaine and such, and Mexicans had access to the smuggling route. Mexicans in the past have been smugglers where they trafficked humans and other people. Not traffic. I mean, it's not that they didn't traffic people for all the way you think of it when you say sex, like sex trafficking, but most of the time it was human trafficking, moving people from one side of the border to the other so they can go get jobs and whatnot. But they had access to all these different smuggling routes. The Colombians knew this. They wanted access to those routes. The Mexicans sold them access or rented them access to those routes. And eventually the Mexican cartels were like, why are we doing this? Why are we being paid to move their product across the border when we can just make our own product and move it across? And that's what they did because they recognized the demand was so high that Americans wanted so many drugs that they can just do it and make more money. And so that's what they did. But this is the other thing most people don't talk about. The killings that happen in Mexico, all the murders, all the gun deaths, all the times that you see these crazy things where people are shooting up nightclubs and all this stuff, that is a direct result of the United States and our gun culture and the weapons being illegally shipped over to Mexico. So as they might be illegally shipping over drugs to us, we are illegally shipping guns over to them and killing their people. And so they get, just how we can be mad about stuff, they're equally mad, just for different reasons. These cartels don't have the same power if they can't shoot up and kill everybody. And they can't do that if they don't have the guns, but we keep sending them over there. So
we are the number one exporter of weapons. Number one. And she didn't even, the president of Mexico didn't even get into her tirade about how she's sick of that being pumped into the street. And I can go ahead and tell y'all, don't be trying to blame that on the black folks. We're not the ones running these gun companies. We're not the ones running the gun lobbies. We ain't doing that bull job. That's not us.
It is difficult to buy a gun in Mexico. If you want to buy a gun legally, you have to go apply for a permit. It takes quite a long time to get a license so you can buy one. And then throughout the entire country, I think there's only like a dozen gun stores. That's it. And it's like you're not going to go there like you are here and see this big supermarket of weapons where you can go pick out, I think I'll take a Desert Eagle today and I'll take an AK. Let me go ahead and grab a little 380 for my wife and let me grab that little pink, little pink 22 for my daughter. It's not like that. It takes time, and you can only buy so many guns, and the certain types that they sell are very, very limited. So it's not a matter of of this big supermarket extravaganza of weapons that you can walk into a Walmart or a local gun shop and get, or to a gun swap meet the way they do it and pick one up without any sort of ID, just pass cash off and get it and walk out. So when these people are upset, they're upset because they know these guns are coming from here. They've been traced back to people, to owners in the U.S. They know that they're not coming from Mexico. So if you're up there and your kid gets shot up and the crossfire coming home from school and you find out it's from a weapon from the U.S., you are pissed at the U.S. So you could be mad. You could sit up there on your high horse and be all indignant about illegal immigrants and drugs and all the other crap. But we have our skeletons in our closet too.
And the other thing is, Larry, how are those followers able to separate that when you impose this tariff? And we've said this on my show a number of times about a number of things that involve it. America itself, in terms of population to the world, we're 3%, Larry, 3% of the world's population. But we consume 20% of the world's resources. In the end, our consumption is going to hurt us if everybody decides they want to do retaliation tariffs. And you idiots, and when I say idiots, I'm not talking about my educated folks. I'm certainly not talking about my people that voted for Kamala. And yes, you rich people that know better, but you're still voting because you think somehow or another this is going to lower your taxes. I'm calling you an idiot too, because you think that you're so rich, you're going to be able to sit above any dictatorship or any of that kind of power control and grab that Trump is going to get. When I'm here to tell you, it don't work like that, Kimosabe. It don't work like that.
And here's the thing: Trump and his cronies, they like these tariffs because for one, they get to look and feel big and bad. They get to spew these lies about how somebody else is going to pay for them, and we're going to impose these horrible tariffs on these people because we're big and bad. BS. But the other part too is it makes those big corporations even richer when it comes down to it, because what they'll do is they'll say, okay, these tariffs, these retaliatory tariffs came in, we have to raise our prices by 10%, or by the tariffs may come in. It may be that they have to raise their price by 10% in order to make up the difference and maintain their same profit margins. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to raise their prices by 12%, 13%, 15%, and they're going to say it's because the tariffs. We've already seen this happen with food prices. They try and act like, oh, well, we have to raise our prices, but you're raising your prices way beyond what you need to. Your profit margins are just completely out of control. They're doing shrinkflation. They're going to do the same thing everywhere else. They're going to say we have to raise our prices because of the tariffs, and they're going to raise their prices enough to make up for the tariffs and then some. And you are going to be the one that's paying for the and then some. Not the Chinese, not the Mexicans, not the Canadians, not anybody else. It's going to be you.
Post your comments, ladies and gentlemen, because it's so sad that logic and reasoning has been thrown out the window for a cult of personality. I get it.
And you know what's funny? You know what's funny? A lot of people don't recognize the way some of the economics, the cultural economics work in other countries, where other countries are not consumers like we are. They don't live in these consumer countries where their whole existence is built around how much they can buy, how much they can consume. Can they get the next newest, greatest thing? Not everybody's going out and buying a new $1,000 phone every year. Not everybody's going out to buy the next new drone when they announce it. Not everybody out is trading their car in early to get the next new car when they announce something new. There's a lot of people that are not in consumer cultures. They buy something and they ride it till the wheels fall off. They use it till it breaks, and then they get something new. We are very much a consumer culture. So the more we consume, the more we're going to get hurt by these tariffs. I mean, you look at places like China, these people are super savers. You have people that are legitimately super savers. They save money because in some places you don't get mortgages. You can't get a mortgage or a car loan. When you want to buy a new car, a new house, you have to have the money to pay for it. And so people save and then they pay cash. And so a lot of people are not worried about, am I going to go out and buy this or that and rack up credit card debt? They don't do that. They buy what they need, you know?
And this country loves to keep you on a consumer hamster wheel, because I just said we're 3% of the world's population, but we gobble up 20% of all the resources. Hence why one business that's booming in America, ladies and gentlemen, because of our consumer nature, storage facilities. Other countries laugh at us that we have a $1 billion a year something storage business in the country because we got so much stuff.
Yes.
Like just gluttonous as hell. But let me move on, Larry.
There's only a few times when you legitimately have a reason to have a storage unit, in my opinion. If you are in the military or maybe a diplomat or something, and you are traveling overseas and you're giving up your apartment because you're like, there's no need to maintain a residence here when I'm going to be overseas for a certain amount of time, and you store your stuff because you're like, I'm going to store this stuff because I need to put it somewhere until I get back. Understandable. But when you have so much stuff that you can't fit it in your house, and yet you can't afford another house to use to put that stuff in, then you're just blowing money. You're just spending money on stuff that's basically meaningless to you. You're saying this stuff doesn't mean enough to put in my current house. I don't have another place to put it, and I don't want to get rid of it, so I'm just going to hoard it, and I'm going to hoard it in a storage unit. That is utterly ridiculousness. And the idea of that is just, to some people, it's just downright offensive. It's just gluttonous and a waste of money.
100%. Post your comments. Let us know what you think. We're going to go to the next Trump thing, and that's just been this revolving door of cabinet picks. I'm going to go through about 3 of these, Larry, and then I want you to pick the one that's burning you the most of the new 3 we're going to introduce. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the shit show, sit back, relax, as I give you another Lamont created video that breaks down these buffoons we're getting. And one of them is just like a straight racist Stephen Miller lookalike at that. Here we go.
Hey everyone, let's dive into the latest news from the incoming Trump administration. President-elect Donald Trump has announced Sebastian Gorka as Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Counterterrorism. This signals a big focus on national security and counterterrorism efforts. Now, who is Sebastian Gorka? Gorka is a British, Hungarian-American media host and commentator known for his conservative views. He served in the first Trump administration for 7 months and is currently affiliated with Salem Radio Network and Newsmax TV. But here's where it gets controversial. Critics are worried. Gorka's alleged ties to far-right groups and his views on Islam could stir tensions with Muslim communities and impact policy effectiveness. Plus, questions about his academic qualifications have fueled skepticism about his suitability for the role. Next up, Russell Vought, nominated to lead the Office of Management and Budget. Vought is known for pushing conservative reforms and leading Project 2025, which aims to restructure federal agencies. His strict budget cuts and remarks about non-Christian groups have drawn criticism for being exclusionary. Then there's Dr. Jeanette Nashaiwat, nominated for Surgeon General. She's a family and emergency medicine physician known for her media presence, but critics question her depth of experience in public health policy and crisis management. Her comments during the COVID-19 pandemic, seen by some as downplaying the virus's severity, have raised doubts about her readiness for this critical role. Finally, Scott Turner, nominated to lead the Department of Housing and Urban Development. After a successful NFL career, Turner transitioned to politics, serving in the Texas House of Representatives. He led the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council, promoting investments in distressed communities. Supporters highlight his dedication, but critics question his housing policy expertise. These nominations reflect Trump's preference for non-traditional appointees with private sector and community leadership backgrounds. Their confirmation could shift national security, budget policies, public health and housing strategies. The Senate confirmation process will be crucial in determining their impact.
Lord, Larry, I live with a doctor I went to see my doctor, and they are not happy with what they're going to be getting, dealing and aiding around the medical community, from the CDC to Medicare, Medicaid. Real doctors who are practicing are not happy about this. Now,
Yeah.
I said, me and you get to pick one person that we're going to riff about, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you mine is this bum right here, Scott. Now, I will say this. Of all the low life picks, he's not the worst. However, Larry, however, I read through what his agendas are going to be, and they're going to be very similar to what Ben Carson's was. Now, like I said, Trump has an affinity for wanting to put black dudes in anything with urban in the damn name. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Ben Carson dropped the ball several times and did the same thing Linda McMahon did, resigned early. This guy is talking about utilizing opportunity zones to enhance low economic areas. Does anybody besides me know what an opportunity zone is? I'm going to just assume not, so I'm going to tell you because I'm in real estate and I do business. An opportunity zone, ladies and gentlemen, is the area where the economic activity is low, might as well say it's in poverty, or it's a bunch of trees and land. And what you do is you take the wealthiest people in America who want to take their money from assets that they would have to pay capital gains on, and they invest their money into these opportunity zones. And when they invest their money into these opportunity zones, if they leave their money in there for 6 to 8 years, they won't have to pay no capital gains on the money that they put into those zones. And then they get the benefit of the investment return on their money for leaving it in these opportunity zones for 8 to 6 years. At the end of the day, how does that benefit the people in the local community that you're trying to revamp? Are you going to be giving money to those people in the community so they can build homes and create equity? No. You're trying to do this bull jive trickle down capitalistic bull jive, which let us not forget the root word of capitalism. It's capital lies. And instead of giving these people opportunities to take advantage of their land, all you're doing is another form of gentrification.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Play nasty too when they do these so-called opportunity zones, because they'll do stuff like they're not going to work with the local businesses that are already there. They'll come in, they'll buy up all the property, or if someone's renting, they'll go in and they'll buy the land or the buildings from the people that are there, and then they'll raise the rent so high that people can't afford to stay, or they'll evict them if anything happens. They'll say, "Oh, you didn't put your trash dumpster out on Wednesday, instead you put it out on Tuesday. That's a violation. We're starting the eviction process." Do all kinds of crazy stuff, and then when they get in there, they often create these businesses that the local people can't afford, and so
that's the point. That's the point.
And then other people start moving in, because then they start saying, "Oh, look at this area over here. They have a new Whole Foods, or they have a new this or a new that." And then the prices go up. But oftentimes in those places, people don't own anything. They rent, and then the rent goes up. People have to move out. And that's how gentrification rolls around. And it's just these opportunity zones are not opportunities for the people there.
No, they're not. They're never that. And if I was the president, I would set up an economic fund for these areas, go meet with the local people, see who has business ideas, appoint someone who is a business leader to oversee people that want to run businesses in those local communities, fortify the people that are already there, and let them make their own opportunity zone instead of you coming in here and gradually running out the poor folks that's already there, pretending like you've done something good when the people you claim you're going to help, all you do is run them away, because just because you put a Whole Foods there, and I call it whole paycheck, don't mean they can afford it. Just because you put new housing there doesn't mean that they can afford it. And so now these poor people got to go somewhere else when you could have took that money and invested it in them, teach them how to run some land, give them a economic czar to help them uplift their community. But you want to just keep this thing trickling down. So that's my rant. But Larry, of all these buffoons, which one worries you the most? Is it the Stephen Miller knockoff? Is it Doctor I'm too pretty to really be in medicine? Or is it Sebastian, I'm from another country wanting to take over your country, Gordon?
Oh man, this one's tough because I wanna go towards Sebastian Gorka because I
Okay,
don't like him. I've heard him, but anything that has to do with healthcare
okay,
is just
okay.
so vital.
Yeah.
And people just don't understand how quickly things can spiral out of control. And
Look
the
at what
thing is
Larry,
that
Larry, they got an example. Look what happened to COVID.
yeah, but they want to look at that as an anomaly because everybody out there wants to say, the media and other people want to say, oh, this is a once in a lifetime, a once in a lifetime pandemic, or we haven't seen anything like this since since whatever in 1919 or something. They want to go, but here's the thing is
Okay.
that when you have policies in place, when you have public health policies in place that actually fight the spread of disease, you can stop pandemics from ripping through your country and your communities. And these people don't believe in those policies.
Nope.
They don't believe in them. They don't believe in the vaccinations. They don't believe that in some of the actions that you need to stop the spread. I mean, simple things like wearing masks, washing your hands, keeping some distance between you and someone else when someone might be sick, saying if you're sick and you're coughing, stay your butt home. No, they want people to go back into offices. This whole idea of you should have to go to do your job in an office. It's like they're overseers and they want to oversee people. It's like
And they
it,
don't want
it,
you
it,
vaccinated.
yeah, it feels like they're trying to justify their existence. It's like they're saying, I have no real value as a manager. And so my only value as a manager is having you in here and watching over you. And so that's what they want to justify their existence. But the thing is, when this whole thing about not having vaccines and all this, it's just so scary because we have had pandemic level diseases come to this country and people don't necessarily recognize it because public health policy is one of those things that you almost never see
Or hear about.
or
Or hear
hear
about.
about, but you
Right.
experience it every single day.
Larry,
Every
we just
single
we
day.
just had a measles outbreak in Florida because they got these dumbass vaccine laws
Yeah.
going on down there. They had a school where these kids wasn't getting vaccinated for measles, had an outbreak, and told the parents it was okay to come bring the child to school.
No, it
And
should not be okay to send your kid to school with a transmittable disease. It's not okay. I mean, these MMR vaccines have been in place for a reason because people used to get measles, they would get mumps, they get rebellion, people would die from these things. It wasn't like somebody said, "Hey, let's make this a normal practice just because." Now, don't mind. No, don't mind. There are still once you see there's a need, there's gonna be some company that steps in and feels that need. So yes, the pharmaceutical companies are gonna step in, and they're gonna be the ones that make the vaccine, and other people are gonna have some. They're gonna be the ones that administer it, and people are gonna profit off of it. Happens for everything. But that does not negate the fact that there was a real and still is a very real need to keep these things at bay. You know, and I mean, when you start looking at some of the old school diseases that have started to creep back up because people don't want to get vaccinated, it's scary. You look at people in the United States and some in other countries where people aren't getting vaccinated, and their people are having outbreaks of smallpox.
right, yep,
And it's like
yep,
we damn near eradicated that.
had it
And then
gone.
people want to start being anti-vaxxers, and that stuff starts to come back. You know, it's
Ridiculous.
just it's
Batten down
dangerous.
the
What
hatch.
it is they're creating policies that are actually dangerous for Americans. And I think that if you have some sort of pandemic or disease that spreads like wildfire, and something that's scary, that's not gonna. I mean, it's not gonna. There are some diseases out there that have almost 100% death rate. If you look at something like Ebola, you don't get Ebola and then just say, okay, well, I hope I make it. No, you get Ebola and like 18 hours later, you're dead. You bled out of your orifices. And
yeah, man.
You know, and doctors don't even want to treat you. Doctors are scared of that stuff because they get it and they can die.
Right.
You know? So I mean, it's just, and I say, and I know I say Ebola, and people hear that and they think like, oh, that's some far-fetched stuff. That's just some African thing that happens in the bush, or people eating bush meat or whatever else. But it came to the US just a few years ago. And the Obama administration had protocols in place, and they stopped it in its tracks. So if you have a Trump administration and you have a Kennedy or this other lady, and they don't believe in vaccines, they don't believe in the pandemic protocols, well, what do you do when you go to school? You know, when your kid goes to school and they get Ebola, and then they come home and they give it to their grandmother or you, and you're thinking, oh, let's see if we can push through this and make it. And next thing you know, you're all dead. And you can't even go to the doctor. They're like, sorry, we're not taking you. We're not set up for that. Right. You know, good luck. What can we do? Say your prayers. That's what you can do. You know?
Post your comments, y'all. It's rough out here, man. And while you're dealing with the minutia of the Trump administration, always keep in the back of your mind, a lot of what he does is smoke and mirrors, so that you're not understanding the other junk that he's doing that's causing more harm. It's like somebody will go and put some smoke on the other side of your car while they setting the tires on fire on the other side. Just know that you got people like me and Larry who we're going to grit our teeth and we're going to keep you abreast as we try to fight back in our own little way.
Let me just give people a little bit of this. I mean, I know people don't think about healthcare policy, but just think about simple things like mosquito eradication. People spray for mosquitoes because mosquitoes spread malaria. And people think like that's something that people die from in the jungle somewhere. Malaria spreads like crazy and people die from it all the time. And if you don't get the treatment for it and you have malaria, you can and most likely will die. Public policy in this country has made it as such that most of us don't ever need to worry about that.
Right.
You know, we don't walk out into our normal cities, our streets and stuff, and we're inundated with mosquitoes. There are certain times of years in certain parts of the country where there's more mosquitoes, and people have been afraid of it because you had stuff like Zika, like Zika virus and all the other stuff that can spread through that. But for the most part, we don't worry about that stuff because we have had good public health policies in this country that has helped keep us safe. And because I think that's part of the problem is that because our public health policies have been so good and have been so effective and have also at the same time been so invisible that you get other people that come in and they don't appreciate what it is and what people do and how well they have worked. And so they think we don't need them. And once you take those away, then you have major problems. And it's always a lot harder and a lot longer and a lot more painful to get rid of a problem than it is just to keep it from ever becoming one.
You got that right. Prevention is always a great key, ladies. Always a great key. Let us know what you think. We're going to move on to the last political subject we're going to cover today. And that is all these countries just jacking off because they're happy Trump is in office so that they can try to drop DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm going to show y'all a video that talks about Walmart getting rid of it and the buffoonery statements they made. And following that statement, you'll see why DEI has not only been beneficial for marginalized groups of people, but it has overall enhanced business too. Take a look, and then me and Larry will break down DEI, why they're trying to get rid of it, and why it's been beneficial for marginalized groups.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, I'm diving into Walmart's recent decision to significantly roll back its diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives. So, here's what's happening. Walmart is shutting down its $100 million-funded Center for Racial Equity. They're also phasing out programs that support suppliers from marginalized groups and discontinuing sales of certain LGBTQ-themed products. On top of that, they plan to stop using the term DEI in their documents and will no longer share LGBTQ policy data with the Human Rights Campaign. This major shift follows pressure from conservative activist Robbie Starbuck, who has been influencing companies to retreat from DEI efforts. Despite this rollback, Walmart says they'll honor their existing commitments until 2025. Now let's talk about what this all means. First, the impact on marginalized communities could be significant, as these groups have benefited from Walmart's programs. There's also potential reputational damage for Walmart, particularly among customers who value DEI, and Walmart's decision might embolden other companies to reconsider their DEI commitments. But here's the thing, DEI initiatives have shown clear benefits. For instance, diverse teams often drive more innovation and creative solutions. Inclusive workplaces foster greater employee satisfaction and productivity, plus companies with strong DEI programs typically outperform their competitors financially. Take Cisco, for example. Their DEI programs include senior leaders engaging with colleagues from diverse backgrounds, leading to tangible changes in workplace culture. Or look at Procter & Gamble, whose DEI efforts have led to more accessible products and marketing strategies that resonate with a diverse customer base. KPMG has implemented reverse mentoring, where senior leaders are mentored by individuals from diverse backgrounds, fostering a more inclusive workplace culture. And Unisys has been recognized for its disability inclusion efforts, launching programs to help employees grow internally with skill-focused courses. These examples show how DEI initiatives not only support marginalized communities, but also drive business success through innovation, improved employee engagement, and enhanced customer satisfaction. So, what are your thoughts on Walmart's rollback?
We shouldn't even have to explain this. These policies are nothing but reversing racism back to the times by the 70s. Because the greater majority of people in this country to this day still are white people, even though that number is shrinking. And that's one of the things that's causing the problem for white guys. That number is shrinking. And when you take the DEI measures from the guidelines of people's work, you're going to get less diverse people. You're going to get people in there doing stupid shit like having someone trying to make a campaign for black people, and instead of doing something that would be legit, you have a campaign where black people's eating watermelon and fried chicken and drinking Kool-Aid. How dumb is that? Like you lose all that. And so we've oftentimes talked about we need a seat at the table. And this was a doorway to us getting a seat at the table so that we can at least speak to a lot of the needs of what many people in our culture are feeling and not just be whitewashed by white people's culture. And so having said that, I wanted to make sure that there was proper examples of how DEI has been a benefit, not just to the people, the marginalized people it's affecting, but also to the business. Because at the end of the day, most businesses is about that bottom line. And if these companies are going to continue to screw you in the butt with the ugly stick, I say stop spending your money on them. For real. I've got a new updated list I'm coming out with more companies that supported Trump that will be trying to put in no DEI into their thing. And Walmart is one that you guys can drop. If you're going to Walmart because you think that groceries are cheaper, go to Lidl's. They're way cheaper. You can go to Costco wholesale. They've got nobody beats Costco wholesale. Costco wholesale only marks up their stuff at a maximum of 14 cents. Spend your money with people who believe in these initiatives and are paying you back. Floor is yours, Larry.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see this happen. It's not like it's unexpected, but it's one of those things. It's like there's been plenty of times when companies have done really stupid things, and you watch those things happen, whether you're a black person or a Hispanic person, a woman, a handicapped person, a gay person, whatever. and you watch them and you're like, how did that happen? How did they not see this? Like, but you have people who are so locked into their little, just like their little personal bubble. Like everyone around them looks like them, thinks like them, grew up around the same places. So there's no diversity amongst them. And so they think what they think is okay is highly offensive to someone else, because all they've seen is maybe some stereotype on TV or the movies. They don't have any friends of folks. And so, or they look at some of these artists out there who are caricatures of themselves, you know, because they're selling an image, and you know, and that's just what it is. It's an image. It's not who they really are. But a lot of people buy into this and they think this is what Black people are, brown people are, Asian people are. And then they go and make ad campaigns and other things around these flawed ideas and misconceptions, and they find themselves offending people. That has happened a lot less when you have people at the table. If you have a Black person that is in the room at the table when they're making an ad campaign, and they're going to, you know, and they're going to sit up there and say, we're going to have new flavors of soda. And they show grape and watermelon and orange and everything else. And when it comes to the grape and watermelon soda, they want to stick them in a Black person's hand. If you have a Black person in the room, you can say, hold up. No, put that soda in somebody else's hand. Give the Black person the orange soda or the Coke or whatever it is. Because if you give them this, don't think people are not going to notice that. Don't think they're not, and it's going to be a problem. The next thing you know, you're going to end up boycotted. So, you know, I just think one, it's going to end up hurting the companies in a lot of ways, because people are going to, people are going to make some really, really dreadful mistakes. And unlike before they had all these DEI initiatives, we have social media now. So these mistakes are not going to be something that just fly under the radar. They're going to be things that fly around the world in a matter of minutes, and they're going to end up going viral, and then they're going to become news stories of themselves because they're going to be so big. I just think that it's just dangerous to not have people from across the spectrum, everyone, whether it be, you know, different minorities, you know, racial minorities, different, you know, ethnicities, different religious types, different, you know, people who are handicapped or gay, straight, whatever. It's just, you need to have a diverse team. Otherwise, you are just really likely to make some serious mistakes. And mistakes nowadays can literally damage your brand to the point it's useless. So,
unless you got a friend in the White House who erase all your stuff. But even then, that friend in the White House don't come cheap. Like, he's not doing nothing for free. And I'll tell you this, audience, this is an opportunity for some of y'all to where these people are going to drop the ball with DEI. If you're in position, set up your own drop shipping business, set up your own mini Walmart, mini dog store, mini beer company. You don't have to do it the way they used to do it back in the old days, where you had a brick and mortar store. You got a commissary kitchen, you can ship stuff and sell it. So consider that as something that you can do nowadays while these people are dropping the ball on DEI. And if you stick around with me long enough, I'm going to be helping you out with a whole lot of things that are going to support us.
And here's an example of something, right? If you go to Walmart or Target today and you go to the hair care section, you're going to see some of them call it like ethnic hair care. Some people don't even call it anything. They just have a section with just hair care for us. That did not come about because some white person said, I wonder if black people would like to buy hair care products from us. No, I'm sure it was because it was some black lady who was working there on the board and said, you know what? I go and spend $150 a month on hair care products, and I have to go down to some little hair care store in the hood to buy my stuff because I can't go to my local Target or my local Walmart or wherever. And they started to say, how big is that market every year? And they looked at it and they said, oh my God, what are we doing? And so then they started to find people who could buy those products and sell those products. They started to find new people who were producing products like that, because there are people who produce those products that have started selling in these big stores. And I'm sure that came about because there were people that look like us at the table.
Exactly. Well said, bro. Y'all post your comments. Let us know what you think. We're going to move on to our last subject of the day. As you can see, someone is waiting for me to help give them a bedtime story. The next one is going to be all about movies that are coming soon. But before we go there, I want you to take a look at this. Your boy is trying to get into the movie game, and I'm going to need all the help I can get from y'all because the stories I'm telling, most Republicans ain't trying to support me in my plight. So I'm going to need y'all to help. Here we go.
For years, the GOP and others have been coming for academic books in elementary through high school and college that take away the real history of this country. That history includes the benefits blacks gave to this country. And blacks have had to be superheroes. If you want to support a film studio that is committed to telling those stories and also telling superhero stories of blacks, helping to save the world and the universe, please go support Life Gains Film Studio. Link is in description. And if you want to get an executive summary of what we're trying to do, all you got to do is shoot me an email. Make a donation without delay.
Larry, do you remember a cartoon from the 80s called Voltron?
I do. Man.
And
I was a Voltron. I loved Voltron. And when they came out and said they were making the Transformers, I was like, oh, man, why can't they do Voltron instead?
I'm going to tell you why they didn't do Voltron, because the Power Rangers came out.
Oh.
And the Power Rangers was nothing more than a cheap knockoff Earth-based version of Voltron. So, ladies and gentlemen, what movies companies like to do, they love to find popular IP and try to turn it into movies. Because Hollywood can be a rough business, but thankfully streaming and YouTube is starting to leverage the playing field, but it still can be helter skelter. So one of our favorite actors, one of mine anyway, Sterling K. Brown, is about to play in a live action Voltron, and here are all the details I've gotten so far.
The classic animated series Voltron, and it's got a cast that'll make your jaw drop. Picture this: Sterling K. Brown, Henry Cavill, Rita Ora, John Kim, Daniel Quinn-Toy, Alba Baptista, Samson Kayo, and Tharanya Theron, all coming together to bring this legendary story to life. Now, we're still in the dark about specific plot details, but here's what we do know. The film will stay true to the original premise. That means a team of intrepid pilots controlling lion-shaped robots, combining to form the mighty Voltron, and defending the universe from alien threats. Classic, right? And let's talk about Sterling K. Brown. You loved him in This Is Us and Black Panther. His involvement in Voltron? It adds serious star power and depth to this already stellar ensemble. While we don't know his exact role just yet, we can't wait to see what he brings to the table. The film, directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber, yes, the genius behind Red Notice and Skyscraper, is currently in pre-production. Shooting kicks off this fall in Australia, and get this, Amazon MGM Studios nabbed the rights after a heated bidding war. Talk about confidence in the project's potential. So whether you're a die-hard fan or new to the universe of Voltron, get ready for a modernized, action-packed, and faithful adaptation that's set to captivate a whole new generation. Stay tuned, because Voltron is coming, and it's going to be epic.
I like Henry Cavill in this with Sterling K. Brown.
Yeah.
But this is my worry, Larry, because I don't know how you can't do it this way. You know this is going to have to be an origin story. It has to be.
Right.
And with it being an origin story, we probably only going to see Voltron form one time at the very end of the movie, because they're going to. You got to think about it, Larry.
I know.
Larry, look, I'm sorry. You know, first of all, they're going to have to find the key to control the individual lions. Then they're going to have to go find the lions. Then they got to learn how to use the lions individually. Then when the most powerful threat comes at the end, when they done figured out how to use the lions individually and go on a damn whole movie hunt to find each lion, they'll form Voltron in the very end. And that recipe is one I'm sick of. I hope it don't happen like that. But Larry, I think it's going to happen that way.
Yeah.
What say you, my brother? Tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me I'm
No,
wrong.
I can't because it doesn't sound like you're wrong. It sounds to me like that's the exact formula that they're probably going to roll with. And
Yeah.
I just hope that it's good. Whatever they do with it, I just hope that it's good. I feel like we're gonna have to probably wait for a second one. I kind of almost hope they film two at once. Just film two at once. That way we already have it ready to roll, and we can just be like, all right, we got that out of the way. Now we know we have another one coming soon. We don't have to wait 4 years or for other people to finish their various projects and then battle over money because now they blew up and they're bigger than ever. Just film them both at once.
You know what could make this thing interesting, Larry?
What's that?
There were some elements of Voltron that could be a little bit of a horror. Little bit. It ain't got to be full horror, but some of the monsters he had to fight were witchcrafted type horror monsters.
Right.
If they could somehow another spin just a tiny bit of horror into this thing, now that could be entertaining as they're going through trying to find the keys and the lions. That could be entertaining. But I don't see them doing that with a property like this where you can sell toys. I doubt that they go horror.
No, they're gonna keep it. They're gonna keep it pretty PG because they're gonna want to make sure they can get as many people in those seats as possible. So, it doesn't mean it can't be good though. It can still be good. It can still be a lot of fun. I hope we get to see more than Voltron than just one time. I mean, that would be really, really disappointing if we only got to see him once. So
okay, you'll see them twice because when they learn how to use the lions, they'll form Voltron to practice, and then they'll disband, and then the big bad will come at the very end, and so you'll see them twice.
Maybe we can see him in the very beginning, so that
a flashback.
Yeah, like a flashback, or to a point where wherever he's at. That's where wherever the lions are at, we can kind of see Voltron together, and then maybe they break apart, and they go to wherever the lions are going to be, but they're going to have to go find them. So maybe we'll get to see them at the very beginning, and then they go find them. They have because you have to go through the whole thing. Is like, okay, there's a mission to go on. Are they going to accept the mission? Is the hero going to accept the mission? Okay, the hero accepted the mission. Now he has to go through his rigmarole, and then once they get to the point where they have them all together, then they can figure out how to put them there, and then they can have them together. We get to see them twice, and then the last time we see them is when they have to fight their big boss battle at the end of the movie. So,
or you could skip all that and have the princess controlling Voltron by herself, and his butt takes such a bad L that they learn that they need to split the lions up, and then we fast forward back because the princess on the show, she can go infinite life, if I'm not mistaken. And then the new threat comes back because the enemies of Voltron, they use magic plus machinery. So they like endow their monsters with evil magic. And you can have the princess just be like, we can start out, like you said, with a Voltron in the beginning, fighting. He gets beat so bad, they realize that if they don't disband the lions, that someone could take that power and use them for bad. So we can see Voltron 3 times. We can see him in the beginning getting beat up. We can see the new team trying to use him. Then we can see the new team use him and win with him. There you go.
I'm starting to wonder if Henry Cavill's allergic to magic in real life. This would be like the third movie. This would be this one. Superman, who's basically has a vulnerability to magic, and The Witcher. I feel like he might be trying to tell us something personally about magic in himself.
Nah, I don't think so, my brother. But y'all let us know what you think. Are you here for it? I know I'm here for it. That's day one for me, depending upon what I'm doing and how many movies I got dropping by the time it come out. You never know. Amazon might start dealing with your boy.
I like it.
Got some things in the works, so we'll see what goes on. Before we get out of here, Larry, what you got going on that the people can look forward to see?
Oh man, I have I have a giveaway video that's coming out I think tomorrow. I think that's coming out tomorrow. It's a holiday gift guide. It's a long one, so be ready. Get your popcorn ready. It's a long one. It's like 50 minutes long or 49 minutes long, something like that. But every product in that video I'm giving away. So make sure you're there for that. Make sure you watch, follow the rules so you can be entered to win. And I have a couple of videos coming out tomorrow. I think tomorrow and Friday about how to a couple of tips on how to get the best, how to get the best out of Black Friday. Some streaming, it's not streams, some of the best sites for like deal sites so that you can go find some great deals for Black Friday and other stuff. So I have a few things. I'm probably tonight. I have a weekly haul. I do my weekly haul videos, and I told myself if I had 3 or more packages, I was going to do a haul regardless if I already done one during the week. And I have 4 packages now. I need to get a haul done. So I think I'm going to do a haul tonight. When we get done here, I'll probably go grab myself a quick bite to eat and then do a haul later on this evening. So look for that. If you guys are looking for something else to watch, come check me out. It's fun. It's simple. I just open the boxes, see what we have. Sometimes I do unboxings of the actual product and work with it. Sometimes I just, open it, show you what it is, put it to the side for a full review. So it's a little mix of everything, but it's always a good time.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to subscribe to my brother's channel. Be sure to download the podcast where you can take us anywhere you go. You can follow me on IG. I'm still there. I've got the Blue Sky app now, and I'll get my information up to you guys on the next video. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'll still be dropping you some political videos here and there and entertainment news. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. Till next week, we out.
Peace.